Good day, everyone. Thank you very much for watching my YouTube channel again. So this is a discussion on police ethics. So titingnan natin dito kung ano nga ba ang mga tamang asal ng isang miyembro ng kapulisan. Katulad ng nasa picture, tama nga ba ang galaw o inaasal ng pulis na iyan na nagbibigay ng grocery items sa mga miyembro o sa mga tao na nakatira sa isang squatter area, some part of Metro Manila. Okay? Or baliktarin natin, tignan ang picture. Yung tao ang nagbibigay nga ba ng grocery items sa pulis? So if that would be the case, tama nga ba yung asal ng pulis na tanggapin yung ibinibigay sa kanya? Okay? So this is very important sa inyo bilang mga future law enforcement agency members. Okay? You are criminology students, so later on you will become police officers. Some of you will go to SAF maybe or PNPA. Pero the point is, lahat kayo, okay, we are foreseeing na magiging membro ng law enforcement agency that who shall defend the nation. Okay? And we need to study what are the ethics that you need to inculcate in yourself. Okay. Now, before going to that, we should have to discuss about man. Okay? So, ano nga ba ang isang tao? At bakit na naman kailangan natin pag-aralan ang kapasidad or qualification or composition ng isang tao? Kasi ang importante, class, is alam niyo na ang mga police or ang mga members of the law enforcement agency or national defense are also human beings. Kailangan nating tandaan na sila ay mga tao rin. Okay? They could be committing mistakes, they might incur faults, okay? They might not be able to obey rules, some of the rules. Why? Because they are a human being. Tao rin sila. Okay? So what is a man? Ano nga ba ang isang tao? According to Aristotle, a philosopher, he said that a person or a man, human being, is someone who has a body and who has a soul. Okay? A body, so tingnan mo kung ano yung qualification mo, gwapo ka ba, matangkad ka ba, muscular ka ba, so yun ang katawan mo. Okay? It's composed of different organs functioning as one. Okay? Na kung gusto mong kumain, pwedeng gumalaw yan. And so your mind will dictate your body. Now, the second part is what is important, class. Soul. Okay? Ano nga ba ang soul na tinatawag? Sa Tagalog, ano ang kaluluwa? Okay? Meron ka bang kaluluwa? Actually, it's not the kaluluwa that you are going to point out in this, but what is soul in a composition of man refers to the conscience. Remember that ethics is the morality of human acts. And if you say morality, this appeals to your conscience. Kaya kung titignan nyo, ang pagka-define ng isang tao ni Aristotle is someone who has a body, okay? And someone who has a soul. Merong konsensya. Okay? Aside sa kanyang body. And he used his body and soul to pursue the ultimate end that he desire, which is what we call happiness. So, ang nakalagay dito sa picture or sa figure in your screen is a man desiring a woman, the ultimate end, which is happiness represented by a woman. But this is only a representation, class. It could be that the happiness that you are seeking is not actually a woman, okay? But in this world, hindi na natin may kakaila na isa sa mga gusto ng karamihan na kalalakihan o ng isang tao ay magkaroon ng partner sa kanyang buhay. Okay? Whether it is a man or a woman. Okay? So, kapag na-encounter nyo, class, yung tanong na what is a man, it is particularly asking what is a human being. Hindi yung pag tinagalog nyo is ano ang lalaki. Hindi, ano ang tao. Okay, so what is a man? Man is composed of body and soul who sought or pursued his ultimate desire, which is happiness. Okay, now let's proceed. Let's proceed to what we call as police ethics. Okay, so ano nga ba ang dapat or tamang asal ng isang pulis? Okay, now class, in Republic Act number 6713, this refers to the Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards for Public Officials and Employees that was approved in February 20, 1989. So, ganyan katagal. Katagal na nung batas na Republic Act 6713. This is actually a part of the law which gives out a guideline stating kung ano ang dapat, okay, or ano yung karapat-dapat na conduct ng isang opisyal or empleyado ng gobyerno. So, there is a rule of conduct, code of conduct for a private individual, a civilian, and there is a specialized code of conduct and ethical standards for public officials and employees, which is enshrined in Republic Act number 6713. Okay? Magkaiba ba yun? Magkaiba. Okay? Meron tayong general na code of conduct, yung paano ang asal ng isang tao. Okay? So, na-discuss na natin kung ano yung mga different ways or different bases of man's ethics. Yung sabi natin sa first discussion before, we have the theories of ethical standards. Meron yung utilitarianism, intuitionism, okay? So, based on instinct, yung asal ng isang tao, based on practices or natural moral law, okay? So, based on the consequence of his act, yun yung mga pinanggalingan ng isang asal ng isang tao. Pero, with respect to public officials and employees, meron silang specialized code of conduct and ethical standards to follow. Okay, so ano-ano ba yung mga yon? What are the core values? Ano yung pinaka-sentro ng asal o pag-uugali dapat ng isang membro ng gobyerno? Okay? So, what is valuable must be pursued. Kung ano yung ano yung mga mahalagang bagay ay kailangan nating ma-gain. Okay? Those are things that are valuable must be pursued. So, what are the core values of police officers? Here, the police service is a noble profession. It demands specialized knowledge and skills, as well as high standards of ethics and morality. Kaya hindi lahat ng tao pwedeng maging pulis. Okay? Kakayanin, I should say. Hindi lahat ng tao kakayanin maging pulis because not all are gifted with the special knowledge and skills. Well, lahat ng tao kaya namang bumaril, tama, pero yung tamang paghawak ng baril or tamang pag-execute ng act, hindi lahat alam. Ang nakakaalam lang nun, tanging yung mga may specialization, membro ng kapulisan or membro ng national defense. Kapag sinabi natin, class, na member of the law enforcement agency, we are not only talking about PNP. You include the militaries, the soldiers, the PMA, PNPA, lahat na. Okay? Those members of the enforcement agencies that are tasked to defend the nation from external and internal attacks. Those who have the authority, okay, who have been tasked to maintain peace in order. Now, so sabi nito, the core values of the police officers must be love of God, respect for authority, okay, selfless love and service for the people. So, love of God. Kailangan marunong din silang i-acknowledge that even if they are in the highest position of the military or of the law enforcement agency, that someone is still above them, and that is the divine creator. And they must have to submit to that divine creator as a display of their love. Okay, respect for authority. That before they could use their authority on civilians, they have to respect first those who, where or from whom they got their authority. Kanino ba kinukuha or nakuha ng mga member of the law enforcement agency ang kanilang authority to enforce the law? Yes, civilian authority is always supreme over the military. All government authorities emanates from them. Ano yung Latin term noon? Salus populi, suprema est lex. Ibig sabihin, the civilian authority is supreme over the military. Ang otoridad ng mga members ng law enforcement agency emanates or comes from the people themselves. Sa tao nang galing, sa mga tao. Sa populasyon ng bansang Pilipinas nang galing ang otoridad ng mga membro ng gobyerno. Okay? So kung wala yung mga tao na yan, wala rin silang authority. So they have to respect civilians in the same way that civilians should also respect the authorities or the members of the law enforcement agency. But for them, the core values of the police is they have to respect the authorities. Next one, selfless love and service for the people. Eto na pumapasok or dito na pumapasok yung sinasabi nila na kapag pulis ang asawa mo, ikaw ay pangalawang asawa lamang at ang unang asawa ng iyong pulis na partner ay ang bayan. Bayan muna bago pamilya. Yan yung sinasabi nila, selfless love and service for the people. That because of your love to the country and your service, your desire to render your service for the people, you put your family second, okay, in line from the country. Okay. Sanctity of marriage. However, kahit na sinasabi nating pangalawa lamang sa buhay ng isang pulis or ng isang sundalo ang kanyang pamilya at ang una ay ang kanyang bayan, these police officers or these members of the law enforcement agency must have to observe the sanctity of marriage. Hindi, dito pumapasok na sabi na, yung mga pulis na yan or kaya mga sundalo na yan, kung saan nakadistrino, meron silang asawa. If that is the case, then they are no longer observing the sanctity of marriage. Sanctity of marriage and the family life. Okay? So, nakalagay yan sa core values nila. So, kung nakakita kayo ng membro ng law enforcement agency na ganyan, na sa isang place na pupuntahan niya, meron siyang asawa, he is no longer observing the core values of a member of the law enforcement agency. Okay. Responsible dominion and stewardship over material things and truthfulness. Meaning to say that they are bound to declare kung ano yung meron sila and they are bound to live a simple life with truthfulness. Honest sila kung ano yung meron lang silang material. Okay? That they are not greedy enough to use their powers, to use their authorities to accumulate wealth. Okay? So, hindi nila dapat gamitin ang kanilang otoridad para magkamkam, okay, mula sa mga tao. So, those are the core values of a PNP. Okay? Selfless love, service for the people, sanctity of marriage, and family life, stewardship. Okay. Baka satanungin niyo ako, ma'am, ang nakalagay lang dyan, PNP lang yan eh. This is the basis class, okay? This one is particularly or specifically the PNP kasi ang kinuha natin. Okay? But most of the core values or most of the things that are in RA, in this particular law, I should say, is already inclined or almost the same with the code of conduct of the military and other members of the law enforcement. Okay? So, ang kinuha lang nating pinaka-model is the PNP. It's because this is the nearest profession that you might later on indulge into. Ito yung pinakamalapit na pupuntahan ninyo bilang criminology students. That's why we chose the core values of the PNP as our model in our discussion of ethics. Okay? Now, what about the police creed? So, tapos na natin yung police core values na dapat they are God-fearing, that they observe family life, the sanctity of marriage and family life, that they have to serve the Filipino people without self-preservation. Okay? So what about the police creed? Okay? Ano ba yun? Ano ba yung credo ng police na yan? Okay? Ito yung statement nila. And these are the police declarations that they believe in God, the Supreme Being. So in this particular class, you may be able to read it in your screen. What is being stated here, okay, is the Filipino core values na tinatawag natin sa Tagalog, makadiyos. Okay? God-fearing. Makadiyos. Okay? So all of the members of the law enforcement agency should be makadiyos. Because they are going to state this creed. What other things from being makadiyos, ano pa ang dapat meron sila? They have to observe ang pagiging makatao. Okay? They must be humane. They must observe or have that humility. Okay? So they had respect for authority. They are going to uphold the Constitution. Okay? And they recognize the legitimacy and authority of the leaders, and the legal orders of their superior must be obeyed. Okay? So let's go with that particular D one by one later on. But what I wanted you to observe in this is, in the declaration of the police creed, makikita nyo yung essence nito na sinasabi nila, dinedeclare nila, as ang pagiging makatao or makabayan. Makatao at makabayan ng isang miyembro ng kapulisan. Okay. So what else? Makapamilya. If you are going to observe the police creed, this police creed is as the same or similar to the core values. It supports the core values of the police that we have discussed a while ago. Nung sabi natin, God-fearing, close family ties, or observance of the sanctity of family and the sanctity of marriage and family. Ito, makapamilya. Stewardship over material things, that they have to live within their means. Kailangan mong mabuhay doon lamang sa kapasidad mo, kung ano ang kaya mo. Okay? Makapamilya. That you are observing close family ties. Hindi yung pumunta ka sa ibang bayan, na destino ka sa Cotabato, nagkapamilya ka doon, iniwan mo na at kinalimutan mo na yung pamilya mo sa Luzon. So, sanctity of marriage. Next one. So, these are, kung makikita nyo from the police creed, eto class yung summary. Eto yung summary kung ano yung dapat meron ang isang police officer, as you could elicit from the police creed and the core values. First is, meron kang takot sa Diyos, or fear of the Lord, or God-fearing individual. Meron kang pananalig sa Diyos, or you have the faith. You have observed the close family ties, or makapamilya na sinabi natin. Marunong ka rin makipagbayanihan. Ito, community spirit, usually, kapag may bagyo, silang pumupunta. Ngayong COVID-19, sila ang nasa front line. Hindi ba? That is already bayanihan, class. Hindi lang yung bayanihan na alam nyo is yung pag may ililipat na bahay, Yung kagaya ng old practice na yung bahay nabubuhat pa and then kapag gusto mong i-transfer yung bahay mo from one place to another place, pupunta yung mga membro or mga kalalakihan ng isang baryo and then bubuhatin yung bahay and physically transfer it from that place. Yun yung concept ng bayanihan dati. Okay? But bayanihan class or the community spirit is not hindi yung ganun na literal na bayanihan. Okay? Literal na makikitulong ka, but the essence of bayanihan is that you are going to act in unity of the society. Makikipag-isa ka. Kung ano man ang kailangan gawin sa isang bayan. Okay. Solidarity or pakikibaka, well, of course, hindi naman pwedeng maging membro ka ng pulis na hindi ka makikipaglaban para sa bansa natin. Ano yun? Pupunta ka dun, display ka lang? Hindi pwede. Okay? So, solidarity means you have to be solid, okay, in your allegiance to obey and defend the Constitution of the Philippines. Okay, love for others or pakikipagkapwa-tao or pakikisama. But this is usually misinterpreted ng mga tao. Itong number 6, yung pakikisama na word. Minsan nasosobrahan kahit pakikisamahan nila kahit mali na yung ginagawa. Okay? Hindi ganun ang essence ng pakikisama. Ang pakikisama is you love the person, you love your neighbor, that is why you indulge yourself to help. Okay? Pakikisamahan mo siya kasi mahal mo siya. Maganda yung pinapakita mo, pinapakita rin niya sa'yo. Makikipagkapwa-tao ka. Okay? Sabi nga nila, respect begets respect. Kung anong pinakita mong respeto, yun din ang bibigay sa'yo. That's pakikipagkapwa-tao. Okay? Pero hindi yun sabi niya, tagay tayo pare, halika. Oo. Nung hindi ka nagipagtagay, hindi mo shinat yung binibigay na isang basong alak sa'yo, sasabihin sa'yo, wala kang pakisama. You are not one of us, parang ganon. Okay? So that is a different concept of what we call pakikisama, which is usually misinterpreted. Okay? Pakikisama in the sense that makisama ka kung it's for the benefit of both of you. Hindi yung makisama ka para parehas din kayong mapasama. Okay. Next, knowledge or karunungan. A police officer should be knowledgeable enough, okay, on his field. Lahat tayo marunong, pwede tayong umaresto ng isang tao na gumagawa ng masama because we also have what we call citizen arrest. So kahit hindi ka pulis, kung may naaktuhan ka na gumagawa ng hindi maganda class, na masama at alam mong bawal yun sa batas ginagawa niya, pwede mo siyang i-aresto. Tinatawag nating citizen arrest. Wala naman ako ma'am na warrant of arrest. Hindi mo na kailangan ng warrant of arrest kasi citizen ka, wala kang knowledge about warrant of arrest. But if you are a police officer, you cannot arrest a person, okay, without warrant of arrest. Lalong-lalo na kung hindi mo naman naaktuhan yung ginagawa niya. O, halimbawa, si letter A nakapatay. Okay? Wanted ngayon si letter A. Ikaw, bilang citizen, nakita mo nung pinapatay niya si letter B. Pwede mo ba siyang arestuhin? Pwede. Kahit wala kang warrant of arrest, pwede pa rin. Pero, ang police officer, halimbawa, si Police Officer X nasa tindahan, na timingan niya ngayon, si wanted na si A, bumibili din. Can he arrest A without the warrant? Matagal lang tapos, 1 year na yung nakalipas bago niya na timingan si letter A. No. Why? Because it is written in the law and the code of conduct of a police officer that he must be knowledgeable enough. Dapat alam mo kung ano yung scope ng authority mo. Alam mo dapat bilang pulis na hindi mo siya pwedeng arestuhin nang wala kang warrant of arrest. Okay? Anong mangyayari pag inaresto mo siya nang wala kang warrant of arrest? Mapapawalang visa din lang yung pag-aresto mo. Baka balikat ka pa. Okay? So, a police officer must be knowledgeable enough. Hindi yung nagkaroon ka lang ng badge, papetiks-petiks ka na. Baka mamaya sabihan ka pa ng kasama mo na malatuba yan. Term yan ng mga kapulisan sa Metro Manila. Yung minsan, yung mga kasama nila, yung puro take lang ng take ang gusto. Ayaw mag-give. Malatuba ang sinasabi nila. Malatuba yan. You should be knowledgeable enough to implement the laws, okay, na pinag-aralan mo because it is apparently your specialization. Okay. A police officer should have love for his country or what we call patriotism and nationalism. Meron kang pagmamahal sa bayan mo. Paano mo minamahal ang bayan mo? Pero kung isa kang pulis at kumain ka ng candy, nakita mo yung trash can, pero yung wrapper mo hindi mo sinut sa trash can, kundi nilagay mo sa tabi ng trash can, sa tabi pa talaga, hindi mo pa inilagay sa trash can mismo, you don't love your country. That's one way class of showing your patriotism or patriotic character. Yung simple lang na paglagay ng basura mo doon sa tamang lalagyan, that is one indication of love for the country because you know the effects of the plastics. So a police officer, you are knowledgeable enough of the ordinances. You love your country because yun ang sinumpaan mong tungkulin to defend the country, and defending the country is part of loving the country. Okay. Number 9, responsible citizenship. Maging isa kang mabuting mamamayan. Paano ka mag-enforce ng law kung ikaw mismo ang lumalabag ng law? Okay? Paano ka aaresto ng isang nagsusugal kung ikaw mismo ay nagsusugal? So you must be a responsible citizen as a police officer. Pero, I am not saying na hindi gagawin ng police officer yan. Because sabi nga natin kanina, tao rin sila. Prone to mistakes. Pero hindi yung sadya. Kung gusto mong magsugal, talagang innate na sa'yo na behavior mo na yung pagsusugal. Huwag kang magsugal doon sa public. Itago mo. Tinuturuan ko ba kayo na magsugal? Hindi. Pero in case na ganun na talaga, na before you become a police officer, nagsusugal ka na at nahihirapan ka ng alisin yun, you could do it privately. Yung hindi naman pinapakita mo doon sa mga tao because the respect of the civilians will be diminished once they saw you doing what is not right as a police officer. Okay? Another one is that a police officer should have the courage, lakas or tibay ng loob. Ano ba to? Red horse? Red horse beer ba ang may patalastas na ganyan? Tibay ng loob? Okay? Lakas or sipa? I think so. Red horse beer. Red horse. Hindi pala beer yun. Okay, so dapat ang isang police officer, meron kang lakas kasi is not the physical aspect, pero pwede rin siya. Pero ang tinatukoy dito na lakas is yung bravery. Okay? Yung hindi ka takot sumuong kahit ikakamatay mo yon for as long as it's for the country. Yan yung tinatawag na courage. Okay? Pero kung isang putok lang ng baril, instead na pumunta ka, tignan kung ano yon, nagtago ka, you don't belong to the law enforcement agencies. Though I am not removing the fact again na tao ka lang, syempre, human instinct, kung may putok, tignan mo muna, magtago ka ng konti, tignan mo muna. Baka naman, ikaw ang mababaril in case na padalos-dalos ka. But as a police officer, you are knowledgeable enough of the protocols, kung ano ang dapat mong gawin, the procedure, kapag ganun na merong mga situation na ganun. Okay. So much for that. Now let's proceed to what we call as police conduct, customs, ceremonies, and traditions. Dami. Okay. So, paano ba ang dapat na conduct ng isang pulis? Ang pulis dapat may delikadesa. Ano yung tinatawag nating delikadesa? Okay. This is in consonance with the requirements of honor and integrity in the PNP. Okay. Ano ba yung NBI? Nobility, bravery, and integrity, no? Yung NBI. Sa police naman, we have what we call the integrity. Okay, courage, yan. Meron sila yan. Meron courage. So, honor, integrity, courage. Okay. So, reputable reputation. Ibig sabihin, yung remarkable reputation, I should say, yung may reputasyon ka na hindi yung na pag nakita ka yung pulis na yan, wala lang yan, pulis patola lang yan. Hindi ginaganon. Okay? So, you must have the moral courage to sacrifice self-interest. Yung alam mong, kahit alam mong kikita ka pag ganon, or may great advantage sa'yo pag ginawa mo isang bagay, alam mong may great advantage ka, hindi mo pa rin siya gagawin, it's because meron kang delikadesa. Alam mong hindi maganda yun sa reputasyon mo bilang pulis. Okay? Delikadesa mo yun. Halimbawa, yung asawa ng kabaro mo, okay? Kabaro is yung pares ng pulis. Matagal mo ng crush, pero dahil alam mong asawa ng kabaro mo at may respeto ka sa kapwa mo, okay? So, hindi mo yun pakikialaman. Yun ang tinatawag na delikadesa. O, paano pag namatay yung asawa niyang pulis? Wag mo nga, kung gusto mo siya, wag mo namang wala pang 1 year na inililibing yung tao, pinatulan mo na agad. Where's your delikadesa? Okay? Ayun tinatawag natin delikadesa. Something that might stain your reputation. Do not do an act that might stain your reputation. You must have that moral courage to sacrifice your interest in order for you to maintain your reputation. Okay? Next one, police lifestyle. Meron tayong tinatawag sa kapulisan ngayon, meron silang sinasubmit ng mga form, they are subject to lifestyle check. Anong lifestyle check? Titignan kung yung style ng pamumuhay, okay? Yung pamumuhay ng isang pulis ay akma doon sa tinatanggap niyang sweldo o sahod. Okay? So the police lifestyle, the members should be credible and respectable, and that they live simple and dignified life, free from greed, corruption, and exploitation. Simple. Halimbawa, PO1 ka lang. Ang PO1, nakakatanggap yan ng mga 23. Sabihin mo na 23. Lilinis yan sabihin na nating linis na niya yung 23. Kasi ang laki ng kaltas nila So, kung 23,000 ang per month mo, may asawa ka, may dalawa kang anak, grade 1 at saka nagdedede yung isa ng botelya, or naggagatas pa, binibilhan mo ng gatas. So, mga tantyahin mo, sa isang buwan siguro, ang matitira lang sa'yo, maganda na kung may matitirang 2,000 or 5,000. Kasi yung daily, wala namang trabaho yung partner mo. Okay? Ang problema, nung tinignan ka, ini-lifestyle check ka ng PNP, meron kang may isa kang Fortuner, may isa kang Hilux na sasakyan, ang bahay mo, 3 palapag, tapos may stall ka doon sa baba, water refilling station, and kapag kinumpute yun, dapat yun, may papatayo mo or makukuha mo lang after 10 years of service. 2 years mo pa lang bilang PNP member, walang trabaho yung asawa mo. Anong impact nun? The impact would be, you are involved in corruption. Kaya tinatawag nilang lifestyle check. Kailangan ang isang police officer should live a life in accordance with the amount that he is receiving. Unless na may iba kang source of income. Okay? Aside from your salary. Doon nila tinitingnan yan. Medyo stricto sila ngayon on lifestyle check. Lalo na ngayong panahon na yon. Okay? Now, political patronage. PNP members shall inhibit. Ano ba ang tinatawag na inhibit? You prohibit yourself from soliciting political patronage on matters pertaining to assignment, award, training, and promotion. Ibig sabihin, hindi yung puntahan mo lahat ng mga kakilala mong general at sabihin mo, sir, ano naman ako, promote nyo naman ako. Or ako naman ang ipadala nyo sa training na yan kasi international yan. Okay? That way, you are already soliciting political patronage. Okay? Pinagbabawal yan. Hindi yan maganda sa tinatawag nating police reputation or police integrity. Asan ang integridad mo bilang police? Okay? Next one is non-partisanship. PNP members shall provide services to everyone without discrimination. Hindi porket, hindi yan membro ng guardians, huwag mong bigyan yan. O kung sa mga religious sect naman, hindi yan membro ng ganitong sekta, huwag mong bigyan yan, or huwag mong i-promote yan. Or pabaliktaran, sasabihin na, i-promote nyo yan, ilagay nyo yan, isalin nyo sa promotion yan, kasi bata yan ni General. Okay? Usually, nangyayari yan daw ngayon. In actual situation, merong mga cases na ganyan. Maririnig mo pa na tatawagin talaga, si General ganito, sabi ni General, ilagay mo yung pangalan niya. Okay? Usually, naririnig mo na yan, itong phrase na ito. Bata yan, ni ganito, ni ganyan. O kaya, membro yan ng ganitong frat, kung saan membro si General. Okay. Minsan naman, kapag may ginawang, halimbawa sa grupo ninyo, may ginawang kabalbalan ang isa, nadamay kayo lahat, so hahanapin ngayon yung mga tauhan ng general na nagkasala, ipapatapon ngayon sa Cotabato o kaya sa Mindanao o sa ibang place. Sa hot area or red areas na tinatawag. Yan yung mga usually na napapansin ngayon. Okay, these are some issues, actual issues na nangyayari, which is already kabaliktaran nung tinatawag nating mga non-partisanship, political patronage na nakasaad sa Code of Conduct ng mga kapulisan. Okay. Next one. A PNP or a member of the Philippine National Police should have secrecy discipline. Ito yung tipong you must be trained to take the ballots. Kaya nga, meron silang initiation rights sa mga tinatawag nating mga frat-frat na yan because they are going to test your loyalty. Hanggang saan ang kaya mong tiising sakit para hindi mo mai-spell out ang sekreto ng grupo mo. Kagaya lang yan ng PNP. Okay? Hanggang saan ang kaya mong tiisin na sakit para ma-maintain mo yung secrecy or confidentiality ng informations about the government. Bilang members of the PNP, kung halimbawa may kaguluhan sa Mindanao, isa ka sa mga sundalo na pinadala or PNP member na pinadala doon, okay? You became a captive, a prisoner of the NPA. Halimbawa, sabihin na natin Abu Sayyaf. Nakuha ka ng mga membro ng Abu Sayyaf. Tinorture ka ngayon. Okay? Are you prepared for that? You should be. According to the PNP Code of Conduct, you must be ready to maintain the discipline of secrecy. Huwag mong sabihin sa mga baka inalis lang yung isang kuko mo dahil sa sakit. Inano mo na, sinabi mo na kung ano yung next move ng grupo mo para timbugin yung Abu Sayyaf. Okay? Yeah. You must have to be trained to take the ballots for the nation. If you are not courageable enough, you're not brave enough to take the ballots, you don't belong to the PNP. You don't belong to the law enforcement agency. Okay. Next one. We have the one strike policy, or what we call the command responsibility. In the PNP Code of Conduct, they have what we call command responsibility. Ito yung pina-follow nila yung step by step na chain of command from the general down to the next rank hanggang pinakamababa na posisyon. Okay? So, ganyan yan. Kapag nagkasala ang pinakamababa, ang pagkakasala niya affected hanggang sa pinakamataas kung saan nanggaling yung order. Okay? That is what we call one-strike policy. Katulad nung merong dito sa may Quezon City, merong isang station commander, okay, nag-give ng order for a raid. During the raid, ang ginawa ng isa sa mga tao kasi niya, itong tao na to sobrang greedy, ang ginawa nung tawag nito, inaresto yung mga na-raid sa shabu, ilagay sa preso. Ang ginawa nila, pinabayaran nila yung tao doon sa nanay. Okay? They asked for 100,000 from sa nanay nung naaresto in order for that person, the one in prison, to be released temporarily para lang makapag-bail siya. Kasi non-bailable dapat yun. So sabi nila, sige, bigyan mo kami ng 100,000 para ilagay namin na non-bailable yung kaso. Okay? So, extortion yun. That's a case of extortion. Ang ngayon, nagkaroon ng internal audit, nakita yon. Okay? So, nakita yung act na yon. So, what is the result of that is, they were relieved. So, naalis yung mga tao na yon, yung mga pulis na yon sa kanilang posisyon, sa estasyon na yon, and not only them, even the highest or the station commander. Eh bakit kailangan pati yung station commander alisin? Hindi naman siya yung gumawa ng act. Hindi nga niya alam na nagpabayad yung mga tao niya. Tama? Kasi wala siyang participation doon. Hindi niya alam na ganun yung ginawa ng tao niya. Okay? But he was also relieved as a consequence of the act of the lowest rank. Bakit? Command responsibility doctrine. One strike policy. Natulad lang yan ng nangyari sa Twin Towers sa New York class. Itong nasa figure. Okay? Paano siya na-relate? Isa lang yung tinamaan. Okay? Isa lang yung bomba ni tinama, pero lahat ng building na to gumuho. That's one strike policy. Okay? So, isang nagkamali, lahat slash. Lahat relieved. Okay? So, be very careful. Kaya minsan, itong mga opisyal, hindi rin sila basta-basta nakakagalaw, lalo na kapag may nasali sa mga tao nila na gumagawa ng hindi maganda. Okay? So, kapag kayo naging membro ng law enforcement agency, be very careful with your code of conduct. Okay? Because there is what we call the Doctrine of Command responsibility. Minsan naman, ang problema dito, yung nasa pinakamababang posisyon, kawawa din minsan. Kasi, kung ang gumagawa ng hindi maganda ay yung pinakamataas nila, kahit ayaw nung pinakamababa, wala siyang magagawa. Kasi kung hindi naman siya gumalaw according to what the higher in position have ordered, meron ding tendency patapon siya sa hot area. So, dahil ayaw niyang mangyari yon, sinusunod pa rin niya kahit alam niyang bawal yon or hindi yon maganda. So, parang reverse, ganun din, one strike policy din. Okay. Now, what else? A PNP member should have a word of honor. What you say is what you do. Hindi yung sasabihin mo nga, I promise to give you a wedding ring on this day. Unamkot, the next thing that you are going to do is you do not appear on the day of your marriage. Parang parehas din lang yan, class. So, word of honor. You do what you state. Okay. Duty. PNP members have historically exemplified themselves as dedicated public servants. You have to serve the public whether you like it or not. Kahit pa galit na yung civilian na yan, you still need to serve them because you are a public servant. Okay? self-sacrifice. Now, next one, this is the very crucial thing, camaraderie. You have to instill camaraderie or the binding spirit that enhances teamwork and cooperation in the police organization. Okay, dito pumapasok itong mga linyang ito. United we stand, divided we fall. Ibig sabihin, makakatayo tayo kapag tayo ay sama-sama. Pag tayo ay hindi nagsama-sama, babagsak tayo. Tama? Ayan. Yan yung united we stand, divided we fall. All for one for all. Okay. So, now, this. Can you remember this, or do you remember this incident? I hope you are have a good grasp of the news regarding this particular incident wherein a particular cop shoot a woman, senior citizen, and his son in front of her own daughter, of his own daughter, I should say. Okay. So justice. PNP members shall strive constantly to respect the rights of others so that they can fulfill their duties to render justice. Okay. Kasi class, kapag sinabi mong justice, we have to, you have to see to it that you are impartial. Ibig sabihin, hindi ka bias. You are looking for fairness and justice when you implement the law. Kailangan, pag in-implement mo yung law na yan, kailangan naman patas yung labanan. Hindi yung, sige, i-absuelto kita kasi kilala kita, kahit alam mong siya mismo ang gumawa nun. Next one, humility. Okay. As public servants, they must have to recognize that they are not the master of the people towards this end. And they should perform their duties without attracting attention or expecting the applause of others. In this incident, if you can remember this, do you think there is justice? Do you think there is humility exercised by this particular person? Okay. Binaril niya yung tao sa harapan ng kanyang anak. Okay. Where is justice? Nang dahil lang sa boga. Okay. Nagpaputok ng boga yung tao, naasar siya, pinuntahan niya, sinasaway, sinabi niyang bawal yung pagpaputok ng boga. Hindi siya pinakinggan, nag-away sila until such time na itong pulis binaril niya yung senior citizen na yung matanda at saka yung anak niya na nagpaputok ng boga. Is there justice? I bet there is not. Bakit? Hindi man lang niya i-consider. Bakit ka nagpapaputok ng boga? Or kailangan punta na lang tayo sa barangay, pabarangay na lang kita kasi this could also be. Could arrest him and put him in jail. Ayaw niya magpa-aresto. Ang ginawa mo sana, as a police officer, pumunta ka sa barangay, kinausap mo yung barangay para silang pumunta. Ang problema kasi dito, nauna yung ego. Pulis ako, bakit hindi mo ako irerespeto? Ba't ayaw mong mag-obey sa utos ko, pulis ako? That's the feeling of this particular individual. Kaya nangyari yon. Where is humility? Sa harapan mismo ng bata, nagbumaril ka ng isang tao. Hindi lang isa, kundi dalawa. So where is humility? Your authority as a police officer comes from the person that you killed. Because they are part of the population of the Philippines. And remember that the civilian authority is at all times supreme over the military. So, anyway, this case, there is justice, they said, because the person involved, the police officer involved here, has been put in prison for double murder. So, nakita niyo yung case niya. Okay, next, orderliness and perseverance. Itong perseverance class, ito. Once a decision is made, PNP members shall take legitimate means to achieve the goal even in the face of internal or external difficulties and despite anything which might weaken the resolve in the course of time. Okay, the best example here, that's why I put the figure, is the fallen 44 or sub 44 in the Mamasapano massacre or Mamasapano clash. Bakit? There is perseverance. Alam nila na mamamatay sila, but they have to avoid defending the nation. Okay? They are weakened by their resolve. Napalibutan na sila, alam na nila na it will be the end of their life. But still, they chose to fight for the nation. Okay? So you must have to have that perseverance, okay, in order for you to become a member of that particular law enforcement agency. So, okay, class, that is the end of the discussion for police ethics. I want you to augment your understanding by reading parts of that particular code of conduct, okay, in the particular law. And you research it for yourself, and for the rest of the topics, I hope that you already understood them well. So thank you very much for watching, and please remember to hit the bell after you subscribe on my YouTube channel. Thank you and bye-bye. God bless.